By now we're all aware of Arizona's new immigration bill, SB1070, signed into law by Arizona Governor Jan Brewer, which requires law enforcement question people on their immigration status and gives authorities the right to demand to see the documents of anyone they, quote, suspect of being an illegal alien. Despite Governor Brewer declaring this bill is not pivoted on racial profiling, and despite this law not taking effect until late July, racial profiling in Arizona has already begun. Last week in Arizona, the ink hadn't even dried on the signed bill yet, when police, without due cause, pulled over an American-Mexican commercial truck driver. He was asked to show his documents. He provided his commercial driver's license and his social security number. Police then demanded to see his birth certificate, which he logically didn't have on him. How many of us take our birth certificates with us to work? He told them his birth certificate was at home. Then they asked where his mother was, which could be considered a wacky, weird, kind of inappropriate question. He told them his mother was in Mexico. He was handcuffed, put in a van, and transported to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in Phoenix. The authorities contacted his wife. She was told she'd have to fetch her husband's birth certificate. She had to leave work and drive an hour to retrieve her husband's birth certificate, and her own, for fear that she too was on the verge of being discriminated against for her skin tone.
Being put in a vehicle and people watching, like he was some type of criminal.
She asked the agent why her husband, a U.S. citizen born in Fresno, California, had been treated this way.
Because he didn't answer the questions correctly. He stated that, his mother is in Mexico currently, that's where she lives, and I asked him, is it a crime for his mother to be in Mexico? And he said that it's not, but he just thought it would be suspicious.
Her husband was released after nearly 2 hours in custody, but the experience left the couple traumatized, frightened, and bewildered.
I don't think it's correct if I have to take my birth certificate with me all the times. I don't think that that's correct,
And, we can be stopped at any time, and we have to show, bring the certificates with us and so forth. It doesn't feel like it's a good way of life to live with fear, being stopped even if we are okay, that we are legal here. We still have to carry our documents around with.
This case is an indication, an alarm bell, if you will, of the sanctified singling out, harassment, and persecution of those who have brown skin in Arizona. This is a citizen of Arizona, born in the state of California, on United States soil, just doing an honest day's work, and he's handcuffed, arrested, and treated like an outlaw, based solely on the color of his skin. No one is defending drug cartels, murderers, kidnappers, or bandits. People are protesting because this law infringes on the rights of not only Latinos and legal immigrants, it also infringes on the rights of African Americans, dark-skinned Italians, Greeks, Spaniards, Arabs, even deeply tanned Caucasians like John Boehner. Right now, in this harsh political climate, anyone in Arizona whose skin's not as white as a summer cloud has great cause to fear for his or her freedom. This bill has not only outraged Americans throughout the entire country, it's shocked and angered people from all over the civilized world. Arizona is now a pariah state, disgraced, ostracized, and boycotted, with hundreds of thousands of Latinos and non-Latino Americans from all over the country protesting this unfair, biased law, which is a direct replica of the show me your papers classification techniques of Hitler's SS. Labeling this law Gestapo-like is not to use the term lightly or to malign anyone without basis. Russell Pierce, the Arizona lawmaker who introduced and wrote this bill, is deeply enmeshed with white supremacy organizations and prides himself on a deeply disturbing racially prejudiced ideology. Pierce not only had to apologize for racist emails he sent out to people which insulted and offended African Americans, he's also been photographed hugging a militant neo-Nazi backdropped by swastika-embellished flags, as revealed last week by MSNBC's Rachel Maddow.
Russell Pierce is also famous for having been caught on tape hugging a neo-Nazi. No, like a real neo-Nazi, not some sort of metaphorical Godwin's Law invoking neo-Nazi, but an actual neo-Nazi guy. See with the swastikas? Russell Pierce is the guy who introduced this radical immigration bill in Arizona that just became law.
So it's safe to say this law, which is being challenged as a racist directive, has been endorsed and enforced by neo-Nazi white supremacists. Ironically, the architects of this bill are also birthers, a bizarre, fringy breed of crackpots who refuse to believe the president was born in the US and whose sole obsession is to see President Obama's birth certificate, despite the president posting his Hawaiian birth certificate online over a year ago. It's significantly illuminating to learn that this group, who composed and constructed SB1070 in Arizona, forcing brown-skinned people to show their papers on demand, are the very same people, the same group who are demanding to see the papers of our brown-skinned president. Now that's a disturbing connection worthy of rigorous examination. Putting aside the neo-Nazi birther background of the creators of this bill, let's remind ourselves of Governor Brewer's inner wisdoms on how she assumes police should define an illegal immigrant based on physical appearance alone.
What does an illegal immigrant look like? Does it look like me?
I do not know. I do not know what an illegal immigrant looks like. I can tell you that I think that there are people in Arizona that assume they know what an illegal immigrant looks like.
Criticism of the law, as you know, is that it mandates racial profiling, that now we're going, according to the president, you're going to have people going to get their ice cream and they're going to get pulled over and asked for their papers, and they could be arrested if they don't have them, basically because they look Hispanic. And it's a real concern that I've heard expressed not just from Democrats, but from Republicans, some as well.
It makes you wonder if these people have actually read the bill and if, in fact, they really understand it. You know, racial profiling is illegal, and it's not going to happen in Arizona.
In spite of the governor's feeble, unconvincing denials, this young trucker's case clearly confirms that racial profiling is the chief component of this unjust, unfair law. This is not only a political issue, this is a moral issue. And it seems like some legislators just have no conscience.